right, Hawks Nation, we're back again. Took a little bit of a break as we transitioned into the season, so we didn't do a video last week, but I'm happy to report that we're getting back on task with this project. This week we had Brady Neumann, senior captain, and we were at Wicks Park again, our favorite place to do these interviews. And Brady's been spectacular for 3 years, and we expect great things out of him as he finishes his 4-year cross country career in high school. He's been one of our top runners for a really long time, running some state finals and led us in so many ways. And it's exciting that we get one more year to finish what we started. So enjoy my discussion with Brady today at Wicks Park.
Hi, my name is Brady Neumann, and I'm a senior, and I've been running since 6th grade.
And that's the best. That's the best intro yet, by the way. So thank you for that. But also, you have a very particular role on the team. What's your role on the team?
I'm a captain.
That's great, Brady. I appreciate you doing this interview today, and I appreciate you being a captain and a good leader for the team. I know the boys enjoy your leadership. So, as I explained earlier, we're going to do approximately 7 questions so that people can get to know a little about you, maybe, and a little bit about cross country. Hopefully, see what kind of great people we have on the cross country team.
All right.
What goals have you set for your senior cross country season, and how are you planning to attain them?
Well, some goals I've set is I want to be able to make mileage again, because there was a time right around where the quarantine happened that I wasn't making miles, or I wasn't close to making miles, and I really thought that I wasn't going to. But now that practice has started again, I really want to try and get back to those miles, because like I've seen that my team does still need me, and I want to be able to race at maximum. Edit this out. Maximum full power, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, up to your ability, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah, and I understand about the whole quarantine thing. It's really hit us all pretty hard, right? And it's
Yeah.
been a challenge and a journey for everybody. And certainly training was difficult this spring. And even when we got in the summer, it just has been so different that I understand why that's been a struggle. So I think it's really important for you to have pointed that out, and also very mature of you to point out how that may have taken a little bit of a toll on even emotionally maybe, or whatever. I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but I think it's really mature that you pointed out that your goal is just simply to get back to be the runner that you know you can be, and acknowledging that you understand what you mean to your team is important too, because we want to send that message that we are a team. And people call us an individual sport, but we don't treat cross country as an individual sport at Heritage. So
Right.
I think your answer was amazing, because I think it says a lot of those kinds of things. Do you have any pre-meet superstitions or rituals?
Um, hmm. I try to drink a lot of water night before, get good sleep. I like to take a shower before meet, so I'm feeling awake. I like to listen to music. Nothing too crazy.
Yeah, just enough to kind of, all those things just enough to kind of wake you up and get you going, huh?
Right.
Yeah, that's perfect. Pretty controlled and but regimented. It's perfect. What is the craziest thing you've seen happen during a race or at practice?
Oh, geez. Probably whenever a kid falls in a race, and then you just kind of see, especially if it's a big race, and you just kind of see like the domino effect, just everybody behind them just kind of go flailing and whatnot. I don't know. I guess that's the craziest thing for me.
Yeah, it's pretty wild when that happens, because you're often like the field isn't anticipating it. So
Right.
yeah, sometimes people kind of get run over, spiked. Other
Yeah.
people fall.
It's like a war
Also, the
zone.
confusion of it is pretty wild. You
Yeah.
know, like what's going on? Why is the starter firing his starter's pistol so
Yeah.
many times? You're looking around. It is probably one of the most stressful or kind of wild times
And
that non-routine times during a race, and it happens more than people think. I think we saw that happen a few meets in a row last year, in fact.
and sometimes it's too late in the race where they can't even restart it. So then
Yes.
the person's whole race is possibly in jeopardy. So
Yeah. So what do you do with you don't have to answer this, but like think about what would you do with that if it were you? Would you give up, or would you
right.
fight back? How do you fight back? That's like that's a pretty everything else once the race gets going kind of is slightly responsive but somewhat routine within a small
Hmm.
window of what's possible or what's happening. But that's such a dramatic thing that could happen. The start of the race and the end of the race, two of the most dramatic parts of the race, obviously. So you're right. I think so too. Which school is your favorite rival? I like to ask that to some of our longtime veteran varsity level runners. I think that's a good one for you though, because you've seen a lot of competition in your now coming into your fourth year. Been a varsity level runner since the beginning, so I think that's a good one for you to answer because you'd have the right perspective on that.
My favorite high school?
Yeah.
Or
Yes. Sorry. Your favorite high school, or I guess it could go back to middle school if you wanted it to. I didn't think of that.
so as like a opponent?
Just whatever school, yeah. Whether it's a league foe or a regional
Right.
foe or anyone you've seen, what school has really been kind of a challenge for us, or someone who's just always been there and
Right.
made the races interesting or things like that.
Probably either Midland Dow or Midland. Oh, what is the blue shirt? Midland
Yeah, chemics.
Chemics? Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I think, especially in track, both of those teams, when I see them there, it's kind of like, oh, geez, now I gotta worry about these guys in my races because they just so happen to have the guys that are right in my league of racing and whatnot, right around my times, and that kind of gets me going. It's like, oh, geez.
Yeah, that's true for you. I can see exactly why you feel that way because with Midland Dow you have the Burrs who are the same grade as you, so you've kind of been rivals in a way with them, those two individuals particularly since middle school.
Yep.
And then a year older than you at Midland High, you had Tyler Pritchett, who
Yep.
was always a front runner in the race, and you always have your eye on him, and you're trying to battle, someone who obviously is going to try to win the race. So I can see why those two schools particularly would stand out to you, and it's probably a different school for each of you, even you seniors. But definitely understand why that might be the case for you with those two schools. Okay, we'll just do a couple more. We'll just do two more. So the two that I always ask everybody. So I think this might be six, but we'll go with six. You've had some really great answers so far, but we'll go with these two that everyone typically answers. And I know we had a pretty long talk about this a couple months ago during this time, and I gave you some things to reflect on. So if you're still in the same place, that's cool. Just kind of answer the same. But if you've made progress, kind of thinking where you're at, let us know that too. But where are you in deciding what you might do after high school, and do you have a dream job yet?
All right, so I'm not 100% sure if I'm gonna carry out running through college, but I have finally decided like where I want to head after high school, which is a big thing I think for me, and that's like photography and whatnot. So that is a big thing for me. Like I said, actually figuring out what I want to do after high school, whether I run in high school or college or not, and yeah, that's about my future plans after high school.
Well, that's amazing. You answered that perfectly because you did just kind of say your dream job then, because I think most people who do something artistic like photography have passion for it. So that I think implies that that it's a dream that you might have to be a successful photographer. But also, you're right. And it's okay that you don't know about running yet. And if you don't want to run in college, we talked about that. That's okay too. It's not required that good runners have to continue after high school. But it's fun to talk about, and if you do want to go down that path, you obviously know we can have some fun working together on that when you're ready. But the fact that you have taken that big step and you know what you might want to do after high school with photography, that is a big change from what we talked about a couple months ago. So I'm really happy to hear that, and I'm glad we got to spend time having that conversation because when we had that talk, I told you that I'd love to be a part of that. That's one of my favorite things about coaching. So awesome! I'm excited to hear.
Thank you.
All right, last one. Give a shout out to somebody outside of running. Not everybody. That's arrogant. I didn't want to sound like that. Some have said me, and I hope I meant something to you.
Yeah,
but I think I want to start focusing on acknowledging someone outside of cross country, but in your school journey. So give someone a shout out.
I'd like to give a shout out to my dad, if that could count as a person, because he's always kept me going since day one, and even through quarantine when I didn't feel like I was making any progress doing practice, he still had kept me going. I think that really meant a lot to me, And I mean, even he still does have me. He's like, "Oh, how far did you run? Who'd you run with? How fast? Whatnot." He's always checking up on me with this sort of stuff, and yeah.
Sierra's getting him straight again, so Brady got interrupted, but that's cool. It's fun.
But yeah, I think him, he's a big thing for that, for keeping me encouraged to do this. For
I
sure.
I think that's great, and I can see it. And your dad's always been very supportive of me, it seems, too. So, and your mom too, for that matter, obviously. So, yeah, I think it's nice. And now that we started the season, I kind of wanted to change things up, so that's why I changed that question a little bit versus what some of the previous interviews were. So yeah, I think your dad, when he sees that, and it's going to mean a lot to your mom to hear that you acknowledge what your dad means to you. And I appreciate you doing the video. And as I said before we started, it's just something that, I didn't say this part, but I'll add this part. It's just something that means something to me because it's a chance for just two of us to get together and talk for a minute, and it's a way that I can acknowledge you as an individual, and I want to do that for each of you seniors, and then we'll see where we go from there. I don't know. There's quite a few more seniors to do, but it really means a lot to me to do this, so thanks for doing this interview for me, and thanks for doing it for your team, because you are going to be a very effective leader in your own way with your style. You have a great, relaxed, laid-back style, but yet you will go out and work hard and set a good example through your action, and I think that's meaningful. I'm really excited to see how we finish our 4 years, though, Brady. So thanks for a good start. You're the first one of the actual season, first interview, and we're gonna see how the next weeks go. And pretty soon we'll race, and the fun's really just getting started. So with that, we'll go run.
All right.
Thanks, Brady.